Hey guys, it's your humble host again. So something I did not cover in my most recent video that I uploaded was what happened with James O'Keefe and Project Veritas, which is some of the most messed up, diabolical garbage I have seen in a very, very long time. For those of you who don't know, the biggest story that James O'Keefe broke was Pfizer admitting to experimenting on people with their vaccines to purposely create other variants so they can create vaccines for those variants of the COOF. Anyway, and that video with one of the directors of Pfizer got removed by YouTube, but you can still find it online. And if I can find a link to it, I'm going to post it in the description below. For those of you who are not caught up with the bullshit of Project Veritas, James O'Keefe got ousted a little while later after breaking this story. So this is an archived article from the Washington Post, because screw paying for a subscription. This was archived by somebody about a day ago. Let's read. It's small. Project Veritas claimed James O'Keefe risked group's nonprofit status. Wow. James O'Keefe's departure from Project Veritas, the right-wing organization known for conducting undercover sting operations, came after the board of directors claimed to staff that O'Keefe had endangered the group's nonprofit status, according to documents and people familiar with the situation. James O'Keefe created and founded the company, and the fact that their nonprofit status, the board was worried about losing, so fucking what? What a bunch of freaking cowards. Anyway, in a memo sent to employees last week, the board warned there is no Project Veritas without the IRS, referring to the Internal Revenue Service, which regulates nonprofits. Wow, what a bunch of shitbags. Project Veritas is registered under Section 50C3 of the Internal Revenue Code, meaning it cannot engage in politics or operate for the benefit of private interests. What the hell? Then what is the point of all these stings if not to expose political wrongdoings? Like, what the hell? Project Veritas was real journalism, stating the facts. Holy crap. And anyway, the stuff with the Pfizer story being busted for experimenting on people? Like, private interest. No, those are the interests of the citizens. Man, this is just so wrong. In exchange, the group is exempt from paying federal income taxes and disclosing its donors, allowing it to build a reservoir of financial support as it seeks to expose alleged wrongdoings by journalists, liberals, labor unions, and others. Project Veritas reported raising about $12 million in 2021, the most recent year for which a public filing is available. So the board members were worried about their fucking pocketbooks. Man, financially bleed these clowns dry. Freaking, if you haven't unsubscribed from these shitbags yet, freaking do so, because they did remove James O'Keefe. Donors donate to our organization in part because of the tax deduction available to the donor. No. People donated to Project Veritas because of the work that Project Veritas did under James O'Keefe. Man, fuck you. The board members wrote in the memo, which it was obtained by the Washington Post, if the tax deduction were no longer available, the board members warned the organization folds, and with it go our employees. No. If you guys had to pay taxes, and that took away from the work that Project Veritas did under James O'Keefe, people would probably donate more. You guys were worried about your fucking pocketbooks, which kind of sends a big red flag. What are you dumping all the extra money into, if not your own pockets? This was about money the entire fucking time. James O'Keefe got way too close to the truth, exposed what a lot of us already knew a few years ago. Jeez, man, if you guys ever start a company, don't ever install a board. Fuck having a group of people trying to oust you out of your own company, man. Screw that. I don't care. O'Keefe, who exited the organization on Monday after a standoff with the board, did not respond to requests for comment. He already released his response, which I'm going to post a link in the description below. The memo declared that board members moved earlier this month to suspend him because of concerns related to the organization's bylaws and, by extension, its good standing with the IRS. So, again, these fuckheads were so worried about their standing with an organization that overtaxes a lot of people. Again, James got too close, and somebody higher up the chain probably threatened the board that they were going to pull a bunch of money in the form of taxes. God, always follow the money. Money is the root of all evil. Like, no joke. It's stated that O'Keefe's attempt to fire the group's chief financial officer, Tom O'Hara, was in violation of Project Veritas' bylaws, which spell out that any officer elected or appointed by the board of directors may be removed by the board of directors with or without cause. Tom O'Hara was appointed by CFO and granted signatory authority by the board of directors, and only the board of directors can remove him, the memo added. It further suggested that O'Keefe falsely claimed to have buy-in for the firing from a board member, John K. Garvey, which was quickly denied by Mr. Garvey. Garvey did not respond to requests for comment. O'Keefe argued in farewell remarks to staff on Monday that he had fired O'Hara and another officer of the group because of what he described as their attempts to revamp the organization in a way that would sidelight him or negate his approach to fundraising. O'Hara did not respond to a request for comment. So, James O'Keefe said that he builds so people can donate, not try to get donors so that he can build. He builds first so that people will give him more money for his work instead of getting donors so he can build off of that money, if that makes sense. He words it a whole lot better. Look at his response in the description below. He says it a lot more eloquently than I can repeat. The board reinstated both officers and put O'Keefe on paid leave. He claimed also in his remarks on Monday that he was then removed from the board and essentially stripped of all authority at the group, which he founded in 2010. On February 16th, he proposed that the board of directors resign as a condition for him to stay. He said, with that ultimatum went unmet, he packed up his things and left the organization. No, he was let go. The eternal power struggle prompted dueling allegations against O'Keefe on one hand and the officers and board members perceived as his advisories on the other. A letter from some employees circulated after he was placed on paid leave said he demeaned his staff and mistreated the organization's benefactors. His supporters said he was the victim of a coup. So here's the thing. If he was truly abusing his staff, it would have come out, I believe, a lot sooner than this. But because some employees probably didn't like the way that he did things, they're now jumping on the bandwagon. This is what it sounds like to me, because I haven't seen anything concrete. And the fact that James O'Keefe got ousted after breaking one of the biggest stories in regards to Pfizer and their crimes against humanity, yeah, I'm not buying that he was abusive to his staff. He was probably harsh. And the way that he had responded in his letter and addressing his staff, it seemed genuine to me. So take that bullshit and shove it. O'Keefe insinuated that his removal was related to the group's recent stings against Pfizer, which it more than likely was. And the fact that PV, which financially bullied them, was more worried about their status, nonprofit with the IRS, and that James O'Keefe came in the way of that. Yeah, it came in the way of their money. Fuck them. The pharmaceutical giant behind one of the coronavirus vaccines, Project Veritas, has trumpeted the operation as offered evidence that Pfizer is intentionally mutating the coronavirus to test new vaccines, prompting members of Congress to demand answers from federal health agencies based on the group's purported findings. Pfizer has defended its research methods, which them and Fauci need to be held accountable, but they never will. The memo from the board of directors, one of several released last week, appeared aimed at tamping down the suggestion. The board has had an immediate growing concern that due to the one-sided narrative currently prevalent on social media, there's a significant potential for loss of financial support from our donor base by making uninformed decisions about the full picture, it stated. No. People are not stupid. You guys are acting like people are stupid. I'm sorry, there's no Project Veritas without James O'Keefe. Freaking die in a hole. Beyond the alleged violation of the group's bylaws, The memo did not go into detail about possible violations of the Internal Revenue Code. Instead, it stressed the board's responsibility to ensure compliance. You guys are more worried about your freaking standing at the IRS than standing behind the guy who broke the biggest story and has broken other stories along with his staff. You guys are more worried about your freaking pocketbooks. Who cares if you guys eventually lost your status? With James O'Keefe at the helm, you guys were like one of the few beacons people had for real journalism. Now you guys threw all that out for money? Golly, I hate corporate. I hate the corporate world. I freaking hate it. There's no way you'll catch me involved with it. No way. I know corp speak. I've been having to learn it a little bit again for my job, but just fuck that entire world because it's corrupt, it's dirty, it's about egos. People don't give a shit. They're more worried about their damn money than anything else. Just fuck that entire sphere, dude. Sorry, there's a lot of cussing in this video. The board takes this responsibility as well as the right to have a healthy work environment for employees very seriously, it stated. It is the duty and responsibility of the board to act whenever there is any doubt or suspicion that such a violation may have occurred. Additional memos signed by individual board members and addressed directly to O'Keefe elaborate on some of the concerns about his stewardship of the organization. Matthew Charmet, a right-wing commentator and member of the board, wrote, "Do you not realize this organization has a bigger bullseye on its back than any in the history of American nonprofits, where the politicized regulators want to put it and you to sleep for good?" Well, no freaking shit, and you guys just fulfilled that. You kicked O'Keefe out, and you think the donors are gonna stay? Like, really? People are there for James O'Keefe, not you fuckwads. Like, I'm sorry, but when I first started to read that James O'Keefe had been put on suspension, it's like, yeah, no, Project Veritas is done. They're going to kick him. There's no way they're going to allow him back. And I didn't understand why at the time. And I'm sure more stuff is going to come out. It always does. But just, wow, what a bunch of shit. Do not install boards. If you ever get a company, do not install a board. Ever, 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 ever. Do not install that group whatsoever. They're in it for themselves. They don't give a damn. Do not install such thing in your company. I don't care. Herman declined to comment. He has argued privately that people weighing in on internal developments at Project Veritas don't have a clue about what's going on, according to the messages reviewed by the Post. In his 3-page letter in which he describes O'Keefe as a brother, Terrand implored the Project Veritas founder, "In what world is it unilaterally firing the CFO and misrepresenting read line about board buy-in on that anything but suicidal," he said. "That action was akin to saying, 'Hey, regulators, come check my books out, please.'" You mean James O'Keefe was possibly, I don't know, being honest about the money is what it sounds like to me? That the CFO, the chief financial officer, was possibly doing something illegal, trying to get donations, and wanted to make sure that the IRS didn't catch on? This is what this sounds like to me. You got Project Veritas didn't want to get caught. The CFO of the board didn't want to get caught doing something, didn't want the IRS looking their way, and it's about money. Watch something come out, how these fuckers sidestepped tax laws or some other bullshit, and James O'Keefe was not satisfied and was not happy with it, and try to correct the mistake and deal with the situation, but got ousted instead because these fuckers wanted to line their pocketbooks. Watch something come out about it. Bet. Freaking bet. This has to do with freaking tax shit. Part of it, Pfizer's involved. I'm just speculating. I'm just spitballing. Don't quote me, but I bet you the board and the CFO was trying to sidestep tax laws with the IRS, and that's why that James O'Keefe, part of the reason why he got ousted. Bet. Anyway, let's continue. Garvey, the board member who denied supporting the removal of the CFO, according to the joint memo, put matters in equality blunt terms. "No one thinks managing people is in your wheelhouse, James," he wrote. "No one." Oh, shut up. A public statement issued by the board on Monday accused O'Keefe of improper personal spending, but referred only elliptically to concerns about the group's nonprofit status. It argued that O'Keefe's removal of the CFO was a violation of our nonprofit's bylaws and added the board has a legal obligation to comply with state and federal law, and these matters are serious ones that cannot be ignored. No, I think the CFO was covering something, and James was possibly reporting his spending to the IRS. He was trying to rectify a situation, was not happy with what the CFO was doing. And if they were worried about the eyeballs of the IRS looking through their books, it sounds like James was trying to take care of something that the board and CFO didn't want found out. This is what this sounds like to me. I'm not a tax expert, none of those things. But you oust the person who is trying to rectify a situation and fix the mistakes, and it sounds like the board and CFO, a bunch of money-hungry grubbers. Anyway, let's finish this up. The statement asserted that an ongoing review had already found evidence of financial malfeasance, especially that O'Keefe has spent an excessive amount of donor funds in the last 3 years on personal luxuries. You got receipts for those? Because it seems like you guys are the ones who are kind of scared of James O'Keefe exposing something. Now, to play devil's advocate just a little bit here, if this is on the flip side, where James O'Keefe, and again, I'm just doing devil's advocate, was spending a bunch of stuff and not reporting it or whatever, and the board was possibly worried about all these excessive expenses not getting reported and possibly falling under a tax bracket where it could be taxed, I don't know, then possibly, but I do not think that's the case here, especially after with the Pfizer story and the fact that James specifically stated that he builds so people can donate, not he doesn't build after the fact that people donate. He builds up first so people can see his works like, hey, if you want to see more of my work and help me grow, donate, instead of, hey, donate first and then I'll build. So that, and just, again, watch his response and you'll see exactly what I mean. It accused him of spending $14,000 on a charter flight under the pretense of seeing a donor, but instead to meet someone to fix his boat, paying $60,000 for theatrical productions and shelling out $150,000 for drivers over the previous 18 months. Now, there's been talk of how O'Keefe was trying to break into theater. It was a little bit of weird bit. So again, though, this is about money and comes right after he broke the Pfizer story. So people are speculating that somebody from Pfizer made a lucrative deal with the board members, and because it's nonprofit, it could jeopardize a lot of things, including their status. I'm more worried about their tax status with the IRS, and I haven't really seen any receipts, so if they're out there, please point me to them. But I think this is a bunch of bullshit, and I know O'Keefe explained a couple things with the charter flights because he had 3 different meetings in like 3 to 4 different states that he had to attend. Again, watch his response because more stuff is going to come out. So we're going to see. O'Keefe in his Monday remarks denied wasting the group's resources and said donors were aligned with him. Yeah, no, donors are pissed. I'm sorry. Donors are freaking pissed, and I've seen a lot of people calling for boycott. I'm calling for it. I didn't donate to Project Veritas. I've never been financially able to. But yeah, no, the donors are mad. So the donors didn't have any issue with the way that James O'Keefe was spending their money because he was producing results. He was producing stories. He was producing work. He made a lot of exposés into where Congress got involved and all this other stuff. So donors were clearly happy with his work. A lawyer who claimed to be representing a large group of significant donors to Project Veritas sent a cease and desist letter on February 19th to the group board of directors expressing grave concerns about any effort to remove O'Keefe and warning that the board may already be acting in violation of charity law. So you have a lawyer on behalf of the freaking donors. The donors are involved. So I can't even begin to describe my disappointment because I used Project Veritas for a lot of the information I got because I backed up their stuff with a receipt under James O'Keefe. Any big story that was broken, it was done by James O'Keefe or one of his staff. And now The organization is dead and it's going to continue to die. The only way that it's going to be brought back to life is if James O'Keefe is reinstalled, which I don't know what's going to happen from here. But if he is, I hope to God he fires every single one of those fuckers that ousted him, including the CFO. Again, anyone that turned mutinous against him, freaking kick if he ever manages to get inside Project Veritas and back at the top seat again. Like, this is such bull. This is about fucking money. Somebody got paid a crap load. They worry about their nonprofit status, and they're trying to put it off on James O'Keefe, which I don't think there's any evidence for what they're claiming. Of course, I'm a wait-and-see type person, but so far the timeline of events is highly suspect and really fucked up. With that being said, if something interesting comes out and I have the energy for it, I will cover it. If not, there's multitudes of people covering it. You have Officer Tatum, the Daily Wire's been covering it, the Quartering, other YouTubers have been have been covering this timeline of events. And I wish James O'Keefe the best, and if he goes on to create something else, I will shout it out here. With that being said, I'll see you guys in the next one.